Do you think the Titan who was able to think ahead was able to see how his life will turn out? Do you think he could foresee the conflict that he would soon face in his life? Well, the answer might surprise you. But before we uncover it, make sure you check out our membership plans to get access to premium content and perks. Now, let's directly get into the story of this Titan. Prometheus was the son of the Titan Iapetus and the Oceanid Clymene, and the brother of Epimetheus, Atlas, and Menetius. The name Prometheus was derived from the Greek prefix pro, which means before, and the verb manthano, which means to study or to be increased in knowledge. Although current academics tend to differ, making Prometheus the forethinker, that is, the one who thinks ahead. In a similar way, his brother Epimetheus's name meant the afterthinker, or the one who thinks after. The Greek almighty Zeus, Cronus's own son, put his father and the other Titans' rule in jeopardy. He assembled his supporters on Mount Olympus and planned to lead an uprising against the Titans. From Mount Orthrys, the army of the Titans engaged them in battle. Now, it stands to reason that Prometheus, a Titan, would be included in the Titan force, just as his father Iapetus, as well as his brothers Atlas and Menetius were. However, Prometheus and Epimetheus chose not to participate in the battle because they believed that they had seen how the war would end. Even then, Prometheus was a crucial player in the conflict between the Titans and the Olympians, thanks to his smart guidance. In spite of being Titans, he and his brother sided with Zeus. They avoided the harsh punishments that his other two siblings, Atlas and Menetius, faced once the old order of gods was ultimately defeated. Zeus had become the dominant deity of the cosmos, and the Titans had been destroyed after 10 years, exactly as Prometheus had predicted. Zeus then started to allocate responsibilities to his allies, and although not necessarily his allies, Prometheus and Epimetheus were given the important job of bringing life to the earth. Zeus would give the newly created creatures life after Prometheus and Epimetheus had created the animals and men from clay. Once the new creatures had been created by the other Greek gods and goddesses, Prometheus and his brother were tasked with giving them names and assigning them all of their unique qualities. However, soon after Zeus had established himself as the supreme ruler of both gods and humans, things between him and Prometheus began to deteriorate. Zeus's unjust treatment of humankind, which in Prometheus's opinion deserved a much better master, was the main reason for this. Epimetheus assumed control of this task for some reason, but because he was just an afterthought, he exhausted all the available traits before creating man. Zeus would stop assigning traits, but Prometheus wouldn't just abandon his new creations unprotected and naked in a strange land. Therefore, Prometheus secretly explored the gods' workshops. In Athena's rooms, he discovered both wisdom and reason, which he subsequently stole and gave to man. Prometheus had already seen the punishments imposed on his family, so he was well aware that his deeds would enrage Zeus. Prometheus offered to teach mankind how to offer sacrifices to the gods in order to please Zeus. The sacrifice at Macon was carried out because Prometheus had already thought about the benefits that man could derive from this arrangement. Humans were also taught how to sacrifice a bull to the gods by the Titan. He ordered the division of a prime bull into its components, which were then divided into 2 piles. One pile included the bull's best meat, while the other contained the bones and skin. Oddly enough, Zeus chose the fat-covered bones, setting a precedent that allowed people to offer only the bones to the gods moving forward and keeping the meat for themselves. Zeus was then enraged by Prometheus's trick, and he tried to punish humanity by withholding the gift of fire from them. This didn't seem fair to Prometheus. Therefore, he kept up with his reputation as a benefactor of man, as he refused to let people suffer as a result of his deception. Prometheus visited the gods' workshop once more, and in Hephaestus's workshop, he took a fennel stalk containing a fire ember. After Sicyon the Titan taught men how to make and use fire, Prometheus returned to Earth and ensured that man would never again be without fire. The Athenians established a race in celebration of this deed, during which runners from the same team passed a burning torch between them until the last runner of the victorious team got the honor of using it to light the sacrifice fire on the altar of Athena on the Acropolis. Naturally, this served as the catalyst for the creation of the present Olympic flame ritual and relay events. It was now Zeus's turn to react. And he did so by giving Hephaestus the duty of creating a being that was beyond anything a mortal had ever seen in terms of both beauty and wit. Even the gods, all of whom had gifted this being with seductive gifts, were amazed when they saw the beautiful evil it embodied, the sheer guile of her appearance. This creature was Pandora, the very first woman in history. Of her, writes Hesiod, is the deadly race and tribe of women who live amongst mortal men to their great trouble. No helpmeets in hateful poverty, but only in wealth. Making matters worse, Prometheus foolishly accepted Pandora shortly after she arrived on Earth, disobeying his much smarter brother's better advice. As soon as this happened, Pandora opened the jar she had brought with her, and all manner of illnesses and afflictions sprang from it, afflicting mankind ever since. Despite how horrific this punishment for humanity had been, Zeus's rage didn't seem to lessen. He thus made the decision to also punish Prometheus. He was as ruthless as one can be once more, tying the Titan to a rock in the Caucasus and dispatching an eagle to feed on him. The eagle tore a piece of Prometheus's liver every day, and that piece would regrow at night, allowing the excruciating torment to never end. Zeus had another reason to be enraged with Prometheus in addition to the theft of fire. Because he was a forethinker, Prometheus was the only one who knew the name of the mortal lady Zeus was forbidden from having a sexual relationship with, because it was predicted that the child of such a union would overthrow his father. But the Titan had no interest in telling Zeus anything further for whatever reason. For ages, neither Zeus nor Prometheus gave in to their stubbornness. Who knows how long their conflict would have lasted if it weren't for Heracles, Zeus's son, who came across Prometheus chained while traveling to the Hesperides. We may never know for sure if Prometheus advised Heracles to send Atlas to retrieve the golden apples and finish his labor, in exchange for which the latter shot the eagle and let Prometheus free, or if it was the other way around. We do, however, know that Zeus permitted this to take place, and that later he and Prometheus put their differences aside and ultimately made peace. Later, Prometheus was promoted from being the human race's benefactor to its ultimate creator. Prometheus molded men out of water and earth, according to Apollodorus, before taking the divine fire and giving it to humanity. Other sources claim that Prometheus and Athena collaborated in the creation of man, giving life to the clay form sculpted by the Titan. The first humans were nearly eliminated off the face of the world, at one point by a great flood sent by Zeus. Deucalion, the son of Prometheus, and Pyrrha were the only two of them to live. Before Zeus released the flood water, Prometheus gave his son the job to construct a boat because he was aware that the flood was just around the corner. In his boat, Deucalion and his wife Pyrrha, who was the daughter of Prometheus and Pandora, would see out the great flood safely, and the pair would then set about repopulating the world by throwing stones over their shoulders, which then mysteriously transformed into men and women. So, it would seem that in more ways than one, humanity owes its existence to its creator and benefactor, Prometheus. Let's face it now, this story was surely something that we couldn't have foreseen. However, that is the reason we're just humans, and Prometheus is not. What are your thoughts about him? Tell us in the comment section below.